After going to the playoffs several years in a row, the loss of receivers Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones seemed to really expose Andy Dalton. Dalton's the type of quarterback that is good enough that you don't want to replace, but not good enough that you can count on him to win games. The Bengals are pretty talented everywhere else on the team, but they must make up for the fact that the quarterback can't carry the team to victory. The Bengals are pretty deep up and down the roster. The only exception might have been linebacker, and they got an underrated one with Kevin Minter. He should be able to step in and start immediately. The departures of Kevin Zeitler and Andrew Whitworth seem like head-scratchers. They are Pro Bowl caliber players, and there doesn't seem to be much depth behind them. The Bengals better hope that they know what they're doing with the offensive line. To add more help opposite of A.J. Green, the Bengals selected John Ross, a speedster who broke the 40-yard dash record. Ross is a good receiver as he can run good routes and has good hands. The problem is, he's had injury problems throughout his college career, and it seemed like a bit of a reach. In the second round, they selected controversial running back Joe Mixon. There's no debate about his talent, but I question how many controversial players can be in one locker room when things aren't going well. A.J. Green is the offense. The team goes as far as he goes, and he makes Andy Dalton better. With John Ross on the other side, it should take pressure off of Green. A concern is the offensive line. With the departures of Zeitler and Whitworth, the team is putting a lot of faith in unproven players. The offensive line is arguably the second most important position group outside of the quarterback, and it's a big question mark going into this season. Geno Atkins is a beast on the defensive line. Kevin Minter and Vontaze Burfict make a pretty good duo of linebackers. Adam Jones and Dre Kirkpatrick make a pretty good duo of cornerbacks. Geno Atkins is the game wrecker of the group, but the rest of the group is pretty solid. They might not be the best at their positions, but they aren't likely to be players that will have a problem on the field. The Andy Dalton scale is this. Your team needs an Andy Dalton or better to make the playoffs, otherwise you need to look for a new one. Andy Dalton isn't a problem, but he's not going to carry the team. The problem is, he's just good enough that you don't want to replace him. He's a good quarterback, but there just isn't a high ceiling, and the Bengals seem to be stuck at where they can be. In the best case, the Bengals finish at 10-6. The team is very solid throughout the roster. A.J. Green and Geno Atkins are game wreckers and can propel this team to a division title. The offensive line plays well and protects Andy Dalton. The team competes in every game it plays in and wins a ton of close games. In the worst case, the Bengals finish at 7-9. This team is solid, but there's just a lack of playmakers on the team. The offensive line struggles, and the offense as a whole can't move. The defense is average and does enough to keep this team average. In the likely case, the team finishes at 8-8. They are an average team through and through. They don't have much in terms of game-wrecking talent, but they also don't have many holes. The problem is they're stuck in the middle. They're not bad enough that they can draft high and get a quarterback, but they're not good enough to compete for a championship. Andy Dalton represents this thought. He would be difficult to replace, but he's not a franchise quarterback that will carry the team to victory.